Hey there, Kalyn here, and welcome to another video in the Too Many Cards series that Emily Leapart and I have created. Today we're making cards using the Waffle Flower Always stamp set and the Always die set that coordinates with it. These two do come in a bundle, so you can buy them together like you see here, or you can buy them separately if you wish. I really like this plastic sleeve that Waffle Flower sells their bundles in. You can see there's a nice divider in the middle, so you can store these really easily, and I just love the bright, colorful packaging. It helps them stand out. So I'm going to be doing some stamping using the Ranger Archival ink because it is waterproof, and I'm going to be doing some watercoloring. So I'm just using the main image in this stamp set, which is this adorable girl who's holding a bird. And this set in particular is illustrated by Flora Waycott, and she is one of my personal heroes. She's just an amazing illustrator. I've been following her for a while, and so I love seeing her images on Waffle Flower stamps. They're just super unique and something you don't see every day. So just taking that archival ink, stamping that image down on some cream cardstock, and I'm going to be doing the same with the other flowers and leaves in the set. The other thing I really love about this stamp set is that all the flowers and leaves come with mirror images of each other so that you can create a really nice symmetrical design. I wish that all stamp sets had this because sometimes you just really want to have that nice left or right counterpart to whatever floral piece you're using, so I love that this set has that. So I'm just stamping one of each down. I messed up one of the flowers, so I had to do that one twice. But once I have all of my pieces stamped out on my piece of cardstock, I'm going to trim that down and then run it through my Sizzix Big Shot machine. Here you can see each piece in the stamp set has a perfectly coordinating die that fits right on top of it, so you can do all of your stamping and then run it through your machine with the dies placed perfectly over top, so you get a nice perfect cut with a little bit of white space all around like you can see here. Now I'm using one of my favorite tools in crafting and in my graphic design work, which is a water brush. This one is by a company called Pentel, but you can find lots of different ones out there. But it's awesome. You just fill it with water and then you can use it to do watercoloring or ink blending or anything you can really use with water and a brush. So I'm just taking some distress inks. This is the color tea dye, and I stamped that down onto my craft mat. And what's awesome about this craft mat is that you can just stamp ink on it or paint or whatever you want, and it works as just a nice, easy to clean palette. So I stamped that ink right down there, and then I can easily pick it up with my water brush and paint it onto my image just like you would watercolor. So they don't blend as well on cardstock as they would on actual watercolor paper, or as they would if they were actual watercolors. These are still dye inks, so you can't expect them to behave exactly like a watercolor, but you do get a really similar and easy to use effect. As you can see, you just easily clean up the ink with a baby wipe or a paper towel. Now I'm coloring the bird using a mix of distress inks. I use some broken china as well as some peacock feathers, and I'm going to take those and kind of mix the colors together on my craft mat using my brush, and then I'm going to paint the bird with that mix of a teal and a blue. I decided to add in some squeezed lemonade to get a little bit of a yellowish green color in there. And you can see here I'm just sort of getting the blue color off of my brush and using a piece of scrap cardstock to make sure that the color has completely gone away and that I can safely pick up that yellow. So here I am just sort of blending that in, and you can see how easy this is. It just looks like perfectly blended watercolor. It has a little bit of a speckled effect, which I love. It just brings so much character to the stamped illustration. Now to color the girl's sweater, I'm using some Festive berries and some picked raspberry ink and doing a little bit of a combination of those, and then I'm going to bring in some orange as well. And the orange I used is spiced marmalade. So you can see as I'm coloring, I sort of made a little mistake and started the darkest color in the middle of the image. I really recommend starting from the outer edges if you want to go darker and then working your way inward, just because it won't blend as easily, like I said, as a watercolor. So when you put a dark color down, it's hard to blend that away. So I would just put your darkest colors where you want the darkest parts to be, and then you can kind of go into the lighter colors from there. So I'm just mixing those two inks to get a bit of a coral look, and then adding in some of the spiced marmalade color to just brighten it up a little bit and kind of warm up that color too. I decided to go straight in with the spiced marmalade color for her headband and just colored that in a pretty solid, straightforward way. I decided to leave her skin just the same color as the cardstock, so she's just kind of very fair, and then I'm going to take some Spun Sugar Distress ink and use that as just a little bit of some blush on her cheeks. Going to color in the rest of the flower and leaf elements, and I'm going to start with the stems and the leaves, just using some Shabby Shutters ink and just doing that straight on there, not doing any blending or color mixing. For the larger flowers, I'm going to use some squeezed lemonade ink and then color the entire flower with that, and then go in to some of the smaller parts with the spiced marmalade and do a little bit of blending the orange into the yellow to give it a nice gradient effect. Skipped ahead here to just show you how all the pieces turned out. I ended up not using the pink flowers, so that's why I didn't go and show you that process, because I just felt like they were too much. So here you can see I'm just playing with all of the pieces and seeing what kind of layout that I want, and then once I decided on that, I picked my sentiment. So I used the Hugs sentiment, and it comes with the little XOXO attached to it, so I just masked that off using some washi tape because I just wanted the word Hugs. So I took that, stamped it on my ink pad, and then removed the washi tape, so now it's perfectly masked, just the word Hugs, and I thought it fit really nicely just in that bottom right corner. I decided to get rid of the leaf dies. They were just looking, again, like too much, and I wanted to layer this card up a little bit, so I decided instead to actually take the leaf stamp, use that same Shabby Shutters ink color, and just stamp it directly on the card. That way it just had a little bit of a more faded look to it and provided that kind of layer and depth that I wanted. Now I'm just taking my Tombow Mono Multi Glue and gluing down the two yellow flowers to the card base. And of course, I had to pop up my focal image using some foam adhesive squares. That just about finishes off the card, but I decided to add some rhinestones to just bring out the various colors of inks that I used. So I just picked some baby blue, some orange, and some bright pink rhinestones. These are all from Queen & Company, and I just had them in my stash, so I wanted to use them. So I just kind of put them, kind of matched them up where certain colors were, but then also wanted those blue ones just spread around. So that's going to finish off this card. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested in winning a $25 gift card to Waffle Flower, be sure to comment on this video as well as Emily's video, which I will have linked below, and we will choose a random commenter to win a $25 gift card. You can also check out the details at my blog or Emily's blog. Thank you so much for watching.